It may be finally time to move on from Ousmane Dieng, as in his first preseason game, it didn't look very promising as he was given the opportunity to start over Jalen Williams, as J. Will is out with an injury. And I wasn't impressed. I'm sure Coach Mark Daigneault wasn't all that impressed either, as it was a pretty pathetic stat line. And just majority of the time, he looked lost out there. Looked like he couldn't get going. Took him a few minutes to actually get comfortable out there on the NBA floor. And for a guy going into his third year in the league, all right, has already racked up, I believe, close to 100 NBA games played over his last two seasons. He played 39 in his first year, 31 last year. So right at 80 games, you would expect him, third-year player, played a lot of time in the blue, has had great mentorship over the past few years with coaching staff and some other players he's played with, to already be ready on that court, but yet it seemed like he wasn't. Pathetic stat line. He just wasn't really hustling all that much. There were times I feel like he could have made a play offensively or even defensively. Defensively, he did play fine. He played okay. But offensively as well, like both sides of the ball, there were times where I felt like he could have put in more effort and the Thunder would have been able to come away with a nice play, either a bucket or a good defensive stop. It's just like I said, he looks lost out there and he doesn't know what to do. All right. And so we're going to break that down today, talking about Ousmane Dieng, why it's probably time to move on from him. And I don't want to say go ahead and trade the guy, but you got to consider that now. Is he someone you want long term? We're going to talk about that today. Before we get all that, though, just a quick moment. I recognize the Thunder season is coming up. If you guys want to stay up to date with Thunder news, and daily videos that we drop here, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Best way to support the channel. And once again, like I mentioned, the best way to stay up to date when everything going on with the Oklahoma City Thunder comes out. We're going to cover it all here. Try to get it 24/7 coverage for you guys. With that out of the way, we can go ahead and get into talking about Ousmane Dieng, as, like I mentioned, struggling. All right, it is the struggle bus for Dieng. It has been for the past two seasons as well. This has been a reoccurring theme for him. So the fact that he still, I don't want to say hasn't figured it out, but like we've mentioned multiple times before, it's a consistency thing. All right, he should consistently be having something in his bag that the Thunder can go to every single night. He's 6'10", 230 pounds. Maybe he can rebound. Well, he wasn't rebounding all that much. Okay, with that frame and size, surely he's banging down low offensively. No, he finished with 2 points. What about his shot? I've heard he has a good shot. Once again, like I mentioned, finished with 2 points. He went 1 of 6 from the field in 25 minutes of play. All right, he only took 6 shots in 25 minutes, which is kind of lackluster when you consider, who he was playing with. Chet Holmgren only played 9 minutes. And then, of course, he was with Dub majority of the time. But even after that, serving as usually the third option, second option as well, only taking 6 shots, that's concerning. It shows that maybe he's afraid to mess up out there. Maybe that's what's going on. Maybe he's afraid to mess up and that he's going to get shipped off to another team if he, doesn't perform well. And frankly, he just hasn't been. Maybe that's part of the reason. Maybe he's just so scared of not performing well that subconsciously it's in his head, making him just perform, under expectations that were brought with him. 6'10", 230 pounds, athletic freak of nature. Now, I will give that to him. He has that going on for him. He's an athletic freak, and there are times he uses that to his advantage. Times. Not all the time, but times he uses that kind of length and size and explosiveness that he does have to, like an example, he got blown by by a defender on the defensive end of the ball, recovered quickly, all right, quick first step, boom, he's back from behind, swats it away to stop the easy bucket. Sure, he got blown by, but it's the fact that he has his, athletic ability to get there and make a play on the ball, make a play on the shot. If he can just do that more often, instead of getting blown by and doing that, and instead defensively use his athletic gift to not let people go by him, use his length, his size, it'd be a different story. Maybe he would take J. Will's minutes. But it's the fact it's still not there. It's still not. After 2 years now, going into his third season, you would think, oh, surely he can get rotation minutes now, blah, blah, blah. Maybe, surely he's good enough now. It just doesn't seem like it from that preseason game. And Mark Nyland over at Fansided as well agrees with this, as he did a little two do's and don'ts for Thunder preseason. And this is talking about, don't, don't still believe the Ousmane Dieng hype train. And this is what he had to say. With the recent injury to Jalen Williams that's slated to keep him sidelined through the entirety of the preseason and even during the early stages of the regular season, many were under the assumption that third-year forward Ousmane Dieng could be in line for increased opportunity heading into the 2024-2025 season. Even with this projection, however, in Game 1 of the preseason, Thunder fans were surprised by his presence within the starting lineup at the 4, squeezed right in between J-Dub at the 3 and Chet at the 5. Sadly, his placement within the rotation is where the shocks ended on the night for the former lottery pick, as his on-court play proved to be just as raw as it has been throughout his tenure thus far with the Thunder, logging 25 minutes against the Spurs. Now, keep in mind, 25 minutes, and this is, the only notable stats he's had. All right? Dieng struggled to serve as a real difference maker as he finished with a woefully underwhelming stat line of 2 points and 6 rebounds. So he got some rebounds, but even then, in 25 minutes of play, serving as the 4 pretty much the whole time, you only got 6 rebounds. And it's not like they were playing Victor Wembanyama or they had guys with size. You're just getting beat out because you're not being physical. You're scared down low. We need you to step it up a little bit, man. We do. We all have, Thunder fans have faith in you. You just need to step it up. Now going to the next part of the article here. Boom. Of course, he did showcase some of his high potential defensive instincts during the contest by swatting 2 shots, one of which was an impressive from behind the block after his assignment and initially breezed past him on a drive. Like I mentioned, that was one play that stood out to me because, like I mentioned, got blown by, but yeah, he was able to use his athletic gift, since he is an athletic freak of nature, to get back and block the shot. They'll seemingly nullify these positives with 2 personal fouls and 3 turnovers. There's no doubt that Ousmane Dieng should still be in line for increased action during the remainder of the preseason, but Coach Daigneault has to pump the brakes on making head-scratching decisions to force him into lineups such as the starting 5, especially when someone like Isaiah Hartenstein, who notably came off the bench, could build meaningful chemistry with Chet if used in the first unit instead. Now, I am expecting Hartenstein to start a little bit more throughout the preseason, as we're 1 game in at the time of recording this. Tonight, the Rockets are playing, and then after that, they have 3 more regular preseason games, and boom, the regular season approaches. So I'm expecting Dieng to no longer start, but I don't really want to see more of Dieng. I don't. I want to see less of him. I do. It's just he hasn't impressed me. When you listen to everyone that's really talking about the Thunder, he hasn't impressed anyone. If you listen to radio in the Oklahoma area, all right, and in the state of Oklahoma, you listen to any of those sports radio shows, they're always talking about, I listened yesterday, always talking about how Ousmane Dieng is just underperforming. Former lottery pick who has all this upside, all right, just cannot figure it out for some reason. That's been the struggling part. And we can't keep giving him these minutes, as we need everyone to get comfortable with the 2 new additions who will get valuable minutes and start, as well as Caruso and Hartenstein. One of them will start, if not both of them. Everyone on the team needs to get comfortable playing with them and figuring them out. That's what needs to happen. But yeah, if you're going to give Dieng these minutes, 25 minutes in a game, that's not going to happen. Just facing the facts, mathematically, that won't happen. You won't get used to how those guys play. So I'm expecting a little increased workload for Isaiah Hartenstein and Alex Caruso throughout the regular, the rest of the preseason. I'm not saying an insane amount of time, but 20 minutes with like the core 5 guys that we have. And this is excluding Caruso. The core 5 guys of like Chet, Dub, Shai, Dort, Wiggs, and Joe. You can also throw Cason Wallace in there as well. Core 7 guys. Get them time, getting used to each other. As Isaiah Hartenstein, he also mentioned in his media availability that he needs more time, to build chemistry with this team, as there are times he feel like he could have got someone the ball while they were open, just they don't know how they work with each other. So in this preseason, I just want to see less of Dieng now and more of some of those other guys, because frankly, like I've mentioned multiple times on the channel here, Dieng has been underwhelming. He hasn't figured it out yet, and frankly, at this point, I don't think he ever will with the Thunder. That's my 2 cents on this whole situation. But I'm interested in what you guys kind of believe in. Are you Dieng believers, or do you also agree with me that it's just time to give up on this Ousmane Dieng, kind of project going on? Let me know down in the comments section below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.